And welcome back to Baseball Barbacast. We are now very excited to be joined by one Trey Yesavage, everybody's favorite pirate. Trey, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So you are at ECU.
Correct.
You are the Pirates. The pirate imagery is strong on campus at ECU. Have you seen all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies?
I've not seen one of them.
You've not seen any of them?
No.
Those are not like played on bus trips. I would
Not
imagine
yet.
if I was on the ECU Pirates, if we're like going to play friggin', I don't know, Campbell or something, that's just like up.
Right.
That's up.
What
You
was
gotta make
your-
those edits.
What was your high school mascot?
The Bears.
Bears. Go
Okay,
Bears.
so Bears, kind of
boring.
kind of standard.
Right.
There are other teams that are Pirates, but I feel like Pirates, it kind of hits.
Yeah.
It feels different.
Yeah,
Was it exciting? It's a good brand. And the colors, that's the thing that I feel like with ECU. It's like, those are ECU
Yeah.
colors.
The purple and gold and the pirate mascots. You see people in the stands wearing pirate hats
Yeah.
and waving swords.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Right. And I think, too, we've talked to some guys that, play at places that have, huge college baseball fan bases, but ECU is pretty special, and that's something that we've heard as we've followed college baseball. Is that something you knew about when you committed there and when you heard about it or saw videos before you ended up at campus? And how did that live up to expectation actually getting to pitch, in the quote-unquote jungle?
Yeah, it was definitely a draw to East Carolina, just knowing the atmosphere going into it and what I was told from the coaching staff when they were recruiting me. But being able to pitch in front of 6,000 rowdy fans almost every Friday it's an amazing feeling. It's not something you wanna forget.
And that's what you've been building towards and what you've, of course, gotten to experience in college. But what we want to do with you here and what we have on the screen is pre-Pirate days, right? We're taking it back, I believe, to 2020. I believe is when this video was taken.
Sounds right.
But as you look here, we've been talking to some of the guys here who had some success in college baseball and thinking back to their days in high school and what has been different. What has changed the most since then for them as a pitcher? So we're going to watch some of this footage, and the first thing is, what does it make you think or feel? And then we can kind of break down, what we're actually looking at. So when you start to watch some of this, what are some memories or feelings that kind of come back?
Well, the first thing I take notice of is the high socks. Not a fan of those.
So why you clearly were then? So why are we not?
Oh,
a fan
no,
of
this
it?
might
I don't
be-
think I had a choice.
This might, that's a thing certain coaches will do.
Right.
They'll say
Oh.
everywhere does high socks.
Okay.
Right. I can tell that just kind of spraying the ball around the zone, not really trying to throw it in any particular spot, just trying to throw it in the imaginary box.
Right, like if you look at the catcher, he's not exactly setting up
No, he's just middle.
on the edges. You're just throwing it right down there. Oh, my God, you almost got dosed.
So what else stands out maybe about the mechanics or the movement of the pitches? Because like you said, it seems like this is in a showcase setting. You're just trying to probably throw strikes.
Right.
You're just trying to show the pitches that you have. How different does it look to if you watch some video of you this past season at ECU?
Yeah, I mean, like my leg kick looks real high and looks like I'm just falling down the mound. No real drive off that back leg. Also really like crossfire in there.
So is that something that once you got to college, we started to kind of iron out and fix?
Absolutely.
And how long did that process take?
It took, I'm still working on stuff with my lower half. But as soon as I stepped on campus, me and my pitching coach, Austin Knight, went to work on my mechanics and cleaning some stuff up, cleaning up the arm action, the delivery, all of it.
And when you see a video like this, is it funny? Like, do you feel proud about where you're at now? What are like the emotions that come up when you look back at something like this?
I do think it's funny. This is only the highlights of this video. I know there's a lot of balls that are bouncing like 55 feet.
Right, like I'm
real
watching
far
some
in
like,
front of the
dude,
plate.
he's
you're
striking
saying this is-
everybody out.
You're saying this is a good edit.
This is a good edit, really good edit.
This is a good
Yeah.
edit. Okay.
But yeah, it's cool to go back and watch from where I came from.
Because what's clear, and I mean we know this now. We can assist you. That's not a first rounder, right? And we knew that, right? I mean, at this point, sure, you're at a showcase and you're competing, and this is perfectly good stuff for a high school pitcher. But that's not someone that teams are like really excited about in the way that they are about you now. So what do you think is the number one thing that has changed that has now allowed you to get to this point where teams are wanting to talk to you all day here at the MLB Draft Combine?
I think it's the development of two of some of the best or two of the best pitches in college baseball right now. My cutter and my splitter, along with gaining weight in the weight room and putting on some pounds on that squat bar, being able to throw a little bit harder, along with the mentality I have up there on the mound, just knowing that I'm better than the hitter in the box and he's not getting past me.
So you mentioned adding some weight. What did you get to campus at, and what are you at now?
I got to campus around 115. I'm at like 225 now, but I leaned out a lot, gained a lot of muscle.
So were you eating an outrageous amount of calories at one point, like during fall workouts?
I was not.
Okay.
I mean, I just tried to eat as clean as possible that freshman year, and especially last year, my sophomore year, is where it really panned out for me.
Got it.
You mentioned those two pitches, the cutter and the splitter. The splitter is a pitch that in Major League Baseball is now taking off in a very significant way. I think we've seen over the last 2 seasons around 3.5–4% of pitches in Major League Baseball are splitters now. Now that sounds like a small number, but that number was at 1 or 1.5% for years until now. This is a pitch that is clearly becoming a weapon for a lot of guys. What is your history with that pitch? What is that something? It doesn't seem like you were throwing it here in high school. When did you get introduced to that, and when did you realize this could really be something special for me?
I started throwing that or playing with it about 2 years ago in the fall of my freshman year or my sophomore year, and it was hit or miss that season, and usually it was a miss. But this past fall, really honed in on it, working with my pitching coach and my catchers and seeing what was working out and what adjustments needed to be done with it, and it turned out to be a real good pitch.
What's your most helpful cue with that pitch?
Just staying on top of it and throwing it like any other pitch, and not babying it in the zone.
Right. So when you say stay on top of it, you're talking about your finger placement on the
Right.
ball?
Just feel like I'm like
pushing
on,
it down almost like through the ball.
like ripping through it. Yeah.
Got it.
But it is a fickle pitch, right? I mean, it's one of those pitches where you're trying to kill spin as opposed to generating it, and there are other pitches where you want to, of course, rip it off. But like a knuckleball, it can do some weird stuff, and I imagine controlling that, even if you have all those right cues, can be kind of frustrating. And I've talked to pitchers who have tried to learn splitters, and it kind of drives them crazy because you see it and you understand how special it can be, but it's really hard to actually figure out. Did you have that process where it was like, this is just a pain in the ass? Like, I'd rather just throw a regular changeup, or I'd rather just do this. Did you have to fight that, or did you kind of find success with it pretty quickly?
I definitely had to fight it. Like, it's still not perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll dart almost like it's like a sweeper or something, and sometimes it'll knuckle. But usually it's got that drop off and fade to it, which is where I found my success.
So speaking of success, I want to ask you about what ended up being your final college start, which was one of, if not the most electric baseball game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I would say, as far as this baseball postseason most memorable games, I think it was in the top 10 for sure. And I know the season's still going on, but man.
So you and Chase Burns, two of the best pitchers in the country. When it became clear to you that was going to be the matchup, what was going through your head?
So I was at my parents' Airbnb when they were playing VCU, and I was like, "This is what I wanted."
And it was
this.
after you guys had lost the first game.
I was right. That's the matchup I wanted, but I didn't expect it to be in the losers bracket.
That's how we all felt. That's how we. Trust me, we all had the same thing. We all, and that Saturday morning, we're like, "Oh wait, we're getting this." First of all, we're getting it at noon, right? Because we were all, Saturday night, we're gonna get this game. Okay, so you were having that same feeling,
right? And going to bed that night, I had nothing but a smile on my face, and woke up real early that morning, and I was ready to go.
So when we talk about pitching matchups, it's easy to forget. I mean, you are not facing the pitcher.
Right.
It is two completely separate operations happening. You against the Wake Forest lineup, and Chase Burns against your lineup. Like, do you feel the energy of that when you're going back and forth, when you're in the dugout, when your team is hitting?
Definitely. I want nothing but the best success for my team, so I want them to hit around the pitcher that's on the mound, but knowing that it was Chase Burns, and I knew I had to step up my game, especially when I'm watching it from the dugout and he's striking out however many guys. Actually, his career low in strikeouts or season low in strikeouts that game. But just watching him do his thing out there. I knew I had to step up my game.
I appreciate that flex on behalf of your teammates there.
Like, yeah, we made him
Yeah,
work.
my teammates made him work.
Oh,
yeah.
and we had, of course, and some of the the home runs hit in that game were amazing. But to that point, though, still, and you clearly had the run support. But I'm sure that you've had plenty of starts over the course of your college career where your team's giving you 10 runs in the first 3 innings, and now we're kind of chilling, right? We're coasting. It's not. I mean, you want to go out there and dominate, but it doesn't feel like as much of it's a matchup with the pitcher. You're kind of focused on your own thing. But as Jake mentions, like you recognized, that's something that even before the weekend started, right? It was something that everyone was kind of circling, like, oh, this could be possible.
Right.
And it seems like you enjoyed that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of fun.
It's man, it was a really, really special game.
So you're a Philly area kid, and a lot of the other people who were at this event, who were in the draft, who were playing high-level college baseball, pro baseball, are from the South. And that means they get warm weather year-round. So my question for you is, coldest game you've ever played?
Coldest game I've ever played had to be, I believe it was 8th grade.
Okay.
Just like first game of the season. Started snowing at first pitch.
March, April.
I believe it'd be in March, like late
okay.
or
Yep.
mid to late March.
Yeah.
Snowing the first game, and I hit the first 2 batters on the first 2 pitches. So
Because was it snowing or was it just?
it was like flurrying.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is it like you couldn't see, you couldn't grip the ball, you were
No, it was just so cold that
And-
Oh, dude, you're like, can you imagine?
your
You're
fingers hurt.
You're like a
Right.
7th grade kid, and it's like late March and it's snowing.
I don't know how hard you're
Freaking,
throwing
well,
at
that's
this
what I'm
point.
saying. Like 8th grade Trey Yesavage is probably throwing like 83, and you just like,
Oh,
man, that's a tough.
That
game.
hurts. I know it's not fun for you either
Right.
to plunk someone, but I imagine
That's-
it seems like you probably got a little bit nicer down in North Carolina. You didn't have
Absolutely.
too many cold games in college.
No, for about the first like 3 weeks, it's a little brutal sometimes, but after that, it starts getting nice.
So you mentioned again the development since you've been in high school, but now you look forward to your pro career and how far you've come since that video we just watched a little bit. What are you looking forward to as a professional? What are you most excited about as your pro career gets started?
I'm excited to play baseball for a living. No more student athlete.
Athlete.
Yes,
athlete.
I'm an
athlete. I'm excited for
Yeah.
baseball to be a full-time job.
Yep. And what is? I mean, do you think you will be spending all of your time thinking about baseball all the time, or is it more it's just like, okay, I can do this and then also have time to do other stuff for fun and not have to worry about homework?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing other stuff.
Yeah.
Like off the field, I'm just a regular person. I like to be treated as a regular person. So I'm going to have time to myself, time for myself to decompress and enjoy my life.
What are we when Trey Yesavage is not up there throwing nasty splitters? What are you doing? What are we? How are we spending our time?
I just love being outside, whether that's hunting, fishing. I got a kayak down at school I like taking out.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting one. Hunting and fishing. We've
Heard it
we've heard that
Right.
before. Kayak, and you said this is your own kayak. Are we
my own
going? Are we
kayak.
just going solo? Let's go and
Yeah.
let's ride.
Just me in the water.
That's
It's you in the water. So like, let's say you get drafted by a team, you sign, head to Florida. Are we bringing the kayak? We're just tying the kayak
yeah.
to the top of the,
yeah.
to the
I don't-
truck?
Where do you
I don't know.
store the kayak?
There's like this little like shed connected to my house down at school.
Okay.
So it's in there.
And then
BYO
how do
kayak.
you transport? Is it goes in the roof?
I put it in the bed of my truck whenever I take
Okay.
it somewhere.
Okay,
Strap
and-
it down.
Is this a solo kayak? It's just
It
you?
is.
So you'll go out there in the morning. You like going in the morning. You like going at
Yeah. How often are we kayaking?
We would have like a team dinner at 5:30, and then I'd have the kayak in the back of my truck ready. So when I'm done eating, I'd head out to the river.
and it's
Oh,
just
and-
you, serene.
Till it gets dark.
Maybe like 30 minutes before dark.
Okay. So you're
Yeah.
doing evening sessions. I like that.
Headphones or the sound of the wild.
Just the sound of the wild. I usually bring my fishing rod out there and catch some fish, but
How did this
it's very
start?
peaceful.
When did you? Like,
So-
this is clearly something that is like part of your routine that you enjoy to do. But
Right.
I mean, again, I don't know when does that begin for you?
I mean, the middle of last season, school was getting out soon, so I was like, you know what, I would really like is a kayak. I've always wanted a kayak.
I can afford that. This isn't like a big grand,
No,
expenditure.
It's
you
not
know?
a Lamborghini.
Yeah, I'm not,
Right.
or like a yacht. It's not like I
Right.
need to get this giant boat. Like, no, I'm going to get a kayak.
Right.
Okay, so
So-
this is recent. It sounds like.
Yeah, I've always wanted a kayak, and the team went to go play NC State one day, and the coaches asked me if I had homework. I said yeah, so they left me back in Greenville, finished my homework, and went and picked up a kayak.
So what is a kayak? Like, what's a good kayak gonna run you nowadays? It's like a couple $100.
I mean, the one I bought is like just an average kayak, and it's like $300.
Okay, $300.
And you've been rocking with the same kayak since
yeah.
the beginning?
Yeah.
One man, one kayak, no problem.
Now,
No problem.
this is going to be interesting. You know, hopefully get drafted in the first round here, coming up soon. You might have some funds to work with. Have you researched like some next level kayaks?
Like
Do
the
we
Maserati of
know?
kayaks.
I have no idea what entails a fancier kayak
what could
or
you
a
upgrade?
faster kayak. Yeah, we putting like nitro rockets on the back,
Like a cooler in there?
I do know. I have no idea.
I mean, they can get bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, there's more bells and whistles you can put on it.
Right,
Like
yeah.
you can put like a fish finder on there if you want
Oh,
to.
okay, all right.
or-
So it sounds like there are upgrading options.
right, but I don't plan on it. I like
You're going to stay humble.
Right.
You want to stick to. You're going to be like, you know, sometimes I remember Charlie Blackmon is the one that always comes to mind. It's like he's still driving the same Jeep he had in college, you know, 15 years ago.
Jordan Westberg.
Oh, is he? He has the same
Jordan
kind of thing.
Westberg's driving his high school car.
But for you, you know, we're in the big leagues. He's doing great. He's making all-star teams, and he still
Has that
he
kayak.
has the same kayak. He hasn't changed. He hasn't
right.
changed. So
that.
it's all right. Now we're going to hold you to that.
Okay.
I don't want to get out. I don't know where.
If I see you in the All-Star game in 4 years, okay, and you got a fancy new kayak,
If
we're
I
gonna
see
give
you on,
some
if I see
shit.
you post on Instagram, oh, check out my new kayak. I'm like, oh, we lost him.
Thanks
We
to
lost
the
him.
local Ford kayak dealership.
All right. Well,
NIL kayak money.
the
So good.
kayak questions are just really overwhelming me right now. But Trey Yesavage, this has been a delight. Thank you so
it's
much
been
for the
so much
time.
fun.
Enjoy your next kayaking journey, wherever it is. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.